Warning, warning, warning. So during this podcast that you're about to listen to, for some reason, I keep saying diary. Well, it needs to be dairy. So I'm talking about dairy and protein foods. So if you hear diary, it's actually dairy. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. For some reason, it just kept slipping out. And then I listened back to it and I just thought, oh my word, you keep saying diary. Why are you saying diary? So just give you that little warning before you listen. And so this podcast is all about enhancing sleep. And so hopefully for people that are experiencing issues where they're not sleeping enough or have issues with insomnia, this podcast is to help with that. But yes, I thought, oh, let's address that. And, I don't want to be because I like to go with this flow when it comes to with these podcasts. I don't script things out as such. And so, yeah, sometimes words might just come out which shouldn't be coming out. So I just thought I'd let you know before you listen. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the podcast. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello. So today I'm going to talk about some nutritious tips to help with sleep. And I'm focusing more on the benefits of protein and dairy to enhance sleep. I'll introduce myself. So my name's Cheryl Best. I'm trained as a nutritional therapist and a yoga teacher, and I write and speak about health and wellness. Also write and speak about living with a chronic illness, or living with chronic illnesses, because I've got more than one. I also have 2 newsletters. So if you'd like to subscribe to them, they're in the description of this podcast. I have one newsletter which I'm emailing once a week, and then another newsletter where it's kind of daily-ish. So I say daily-ish because it'll be probably between 3 and 7 emails that you'll receive in a week. So those two the links for those 2 newsletters are in the description. Anyway, let's carry on. So the last podcast that I did, I was talking about how about this 8-hour myth when it comes to sleep. It's kind of bandied around a lot now that we have to make sure that we have 8 hours of sleep a day, and if we don't do that, then we're doomed. And yes, I do feel for some people, yes, 8 hours of sleep is needed. But for a lot of people, it's not needed. Like I get by on 6 hours. So it's very usual that I'm sleeping for about 5.5 to 7 hours a day. It's usually 6 hours. I don't need an alarm to wake me up. I just get up, and when I'm up, I'm very awake. And I'm an early bird, so I tend to be up between 4:30 and 5:30. That's kind of my time that I will get up. It probably sounds absolutely crazy, but yeah, that's just my body clock, and that's how I work. And so I was kind of going against that, saying, I don't believe in this 8-hour thing. It's down to the individual. And why I say it's down to the individual, because some people might be sleeping for 6 hours, like myself, and then are waking up and they need more sleep. They're not waking up full of beans and raring to go. They're just absolutely drained. Or it could be that some people are waking up multiple times during the night and they're not getting the deep sleep that they need. And so for those people, they might be getting 6 hours of sleep like myself, but because they're waking up every 2 hours, then they're not getting the sleep that they need. And so those kind of things can be termed as having insomnia. And so even though I get by with 6 hours of sleep, for somebody else, they're possibly getting 6 hours of sleep, but it's broken sleep. And that's making them extremely tired throughout the day. So this podcast is focusing on those types of people that might need some help with getting in more sleep. Okay, so the big factor when it comes to not getting enough sleep is a hormone called melatonin. And we produce melatonin during the dark hours, and it's kind of signaling that when it gets dark, it signals the brain to start producing melatonin, and then it sparks us then to start feeling tired, and then we fall asleep, hopefully. For some people, though, that is not the case. So what's happening with those people is that they're not producing enough melatonin. And so this can happen around certain illnesses. So if you are diagnosed with certain chronic illnesses, or maybe taking medication, you might find that you're not getting the best sleep, and that possibly is due to melatonin. Anxiety, depression, tend to find that the melatonin levels will drop with those kind of conditions. I'm a woman over 40, so women over 40 going through the menopause, then you might find that you've got this whole shift happening with your sleep, and it's most likely due to the hormone melatonin, along with all the other hormones as well. That's causing a lot of issues. So women over 40 going through the menopause, you may also find that you're having difficulties with your sleep. And then just being over 40 anyway, just getting older, being 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever, as we age, our melatonin levels drop. So you might find that you're not sleeping as well as you did when you were a teenager, and that is because of age. Unfortunately, it's going to happen to us all. And so you may find that you've stepped into your 40s and 50s, and you're thinking, what the hell's going on here? I was sleeping really well earlier, and now look, I can't sleep, and it is due to age. With aging, unfortunately, melatonin levels drop. So what can you do about it? Well, you could look at your diet, and when looking at diet, you could focus on protein and dairy foods. Now, this is going to be for people, this particular podcast is going to be for people who eat animal-based foods. I will address the plant-based people at another date, but at the moment this is for people who eat animal-based food. So we're focusing on protein and protein and dairy. So the reason why these particular types of foods are so beneficial is because they have a protein called tryptophan. And tryptophan is an amino acid. So proteins break down into these chemicals called amino acids, and they have lots of different roles in the body, but they do have a big role when it comes to hormones. And like I've said before, melatonin is a hormone. So when you're eating these foods that are rich in tryptophan, what tends to happen is that it breaks down into the body, and then it will help to release melatonin. And so there are really good foods, and I'm focusing more so on dairy and protein for now. But if you are looking to see if it would help, then you could look at milk. You could be looking at yogurt and looking at chicken and turkey. They're particularly high in tryptophan, and also cheese. But if you are going down the cheese route, and this might sound a bit bland, and you know, it's not to everybody's taste, but cottage cheese would be a really good option to choose. You know, so cottage cheese with some wholemeal bread or sourdough bread, which I love sourdough bread, but yeah, that would be a really good option. And bread also is very, very beneficial, but I won't touch upon that today. I'm just going to focus on the protein and the dairy. Right, so another good thing that might help, and you may have had this when you were younger. So when you were young, it may have been that your parents or your grandparents always recommended a nice warm glass of milk before going to bed. And so they knew something, because milk is really good source of tryptophan. So you could be getting in, you know, a glass of milk maybe before bed, you know, an hour before bed, and seeing if that would help as well. So those are the things when you could focus on when it comes to sleep. Now, with all of these things, it's not something that's going to happen straight away. So yes, it would be lovely that we try this hot milk for a day, and then hoping on that same day that this thing's going to work. It doesn't work like that with everything. And you know, with everything that I'm going to be talking about, especially when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to exercise, when it comes to meditation, anything like that, it doesn't work overnight. This does take time. So if you're going to give something a go, especially when it comes to your sleep, then give it a go for at least 1, 2 or 3 weeks before making that decision and saying, well, no, this thing doesn't work. You really do need to give this time. So try it. You know, if you're okay with milk, then try milk and seeing how you get on with that. And like I said, give it enough time to see how it affects you. It might not be something that's beneficial for you. So if you're finding that the milk, you probably can't tolerate that, something like bananas and natural yogurt maybe before bed, that would be a good option, you know. So yes, so give that a go and see how that goes. And yeah, let's hopefully that it will make a difference for your sleep. All right, so I will finish it up there for today. So have a wonderful, wonderful day. You take care, and I hope you start to have an improved sleep. So try those things out and see how you get on with that. The next podcast, I'm going to touch more upon the people that are more plant-based eaters, and you might find that if you are animal-based, you eat animal-based foods, that you might find some of the plant-based foods will help as well. So I'll touch upon that in the next podcast. Okay, so anyway, you take care. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.